right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
And welcome back, folks, to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. I would normally be introducing my other half, that dastardly mustachioed who hides ham sandwiches and stuff like that up into his mustache there times, Mr. Don Fry, the Predator. But it's a little too late for Don. He got a little sweepy, so he had some fun kind of bury me a little bit earlier. Well, he's not here, so we get to say whatever we want behind his back. So as we move on, tonight's guest, we have Mr. Jeremy Elliott. He is all the way from Ontario, Canada, via the Zoom so many different things are taking place now via the internet. And Jeremy Elliott is a combination. He's a martial artist. He's a professional wrestler. Just an all-around good guy is really what he is. And we're going to be talking about a number of different things, martial arts, his own personal training, what he does. But then tonight, the big thing is Jeremy has a match coming up with Mr. Suzuki. And we'll be putting up some pictures and stuff like that. But we'll start in here, Jeremy, and then we'll just say hello to the folks, and we'll kind of start moving in here with questions.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for the introduction, sir. And thanks for you and Tony having me on. Sorry that Mr. Fry could not make it, but hey, we'll be doing this again. So it's a pleasure to talk to you guys this evening. Well, so we talked about weights a little bit, and so I actually have a lot of times where I spend teaching kids how to do weightlifting, because once again, that's something I think should also be taught in the elementary schools.
But at what age? Okay, what age do you think it's appropriate for kids to be doing weightlifting exercises as opposed to body weight exercises?
To be honest, I think very young. I think between like the Russian textbooks and the Bulgarian textbooks, they would be introducing the most simplest things at 8 to 10 years old.
Really?
And I don't see why not. So I actually have one young man, he's 6, and I laugh because he is a superstar. I taught him how to do a deadlift. All he had was this small, thin PVC pipe. I hung a couple of chains on it, which was probably about 12 pounds. And man, the 6-year-old, boom, he's pulling the PVC pipe. And I'm like, the 6-year-old knows how to deadlift. Like that. And now that translates because, okay, hey, find your wrestling stance. Show me how you hinge at those hips. Get your hands up. And it translates the same thing, I think strength needs to be taught. Like it's something. So if you look at like shot put, for example, shot put is a wicked sport. It's great to do, but you can teach 5-6-year-olds. You can have a 5-6-year-old division where they're just throwing that little tiny 1-pound beanbag, but get them the techniques, get them the fundamentals. And once they have that, and then they start training and stuff, by the time they hit high school and they start throwing that 16-pound shot, boom, they have because they've done it, And so I think that's why if we want sports to grow, if we want all of our other things to grow, I think the strength training and weightlifting needs to be a part of it. And I think we can, because as we were just talking about with kids, there was nothing. If we were outside and, hey, somebody said, I think I can lift that rock. And no, you can't lift that rock. And well, watch me, I'm going to go pick it up. And there was no, you better be careful. You might hurt yourself. You might throw your back out. No, I'm going to go pick this rock up or I'm not. And then
a lot of times it's the fact that you challenge somebody that's like going, somehow you're going to think mechanically how I'm going to actually pick up that rock. I mean, it's like, doggone it, he kind of challenged me. I'm going to pick this rock up no matter what here at this point. And sometimes you have to teach people, you got to have that type of that boneheaded attitude to see it through. You're not going to have failure. Failure is not an option.
There's your creativity again. You're going to become creative to see how we can figure this out. And that's great because then you get stronger and you grow.
It's not about how much you can pick up. It's about the technique at a younger age, about how to learn how to do it to get to the weight.
Oh, 100%. And that's where a lot of, coaches, I don't know if they understand it themselves. So maybe that's why they can't teach it. But you're right, Tony. It is 100%. Like if you're deadlifting wrong, you're not going to see those results, and you might hurt yourself early on, right? Like if you try to lift too heavy. But that's where the supervision and the coaches do come in. You got to have coaches who can really nurture that and make sure the kids are doing it correctly.
Watching the technique and all the aspects. Now, see, like in the States, we used to have this thing called the Presidential Physical Fitness Awards, where there were standards. You had to be able to run, jump, push-ups. I mean, there was half a dozen different things. I remember that like when I was in junior high. That was a big deal to get that Presidential Physical Fitness patch, that you achieved all of that, you were able to do all this.
Yeah, I remember those. They'd check on your fat, everything. They would check your fat percentage of everything on your body. And
okay, but Tony, when's the last time that's been spoken about in the United States?
I think when I was in like junior high, I think the last time I
think it's been almost a couple of decades that Jeremy, it's not even spoken about because the bar continues to lower.
You don't want to hurt people's feelings and tell them that they're not in good shape, or but someone can do more than I can. Everyone deserves a ribbon nowadays.
That's again that's part of this. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. To me, it's like going, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose, and that's where now, like Tony just said, everyone gets a participation ribbon, trophy, medal, and to me, it's like going, being from the wacky world of professional wrestling. That's where I would like to take on that heel character and just have that rubber stamp and going, hey, dude, you're nothing but a loser. Just tattoo that forward. Come back better when you got your man pants on, or got your big girl pants on, and you might do a little better. I think that would be great.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Maybe I shouldn't be that person.
No, it's so funny that we're kind of almost the opposite, right? Like Canada's the same. We don't have any fitness standards. It's not encouraged. Like even I think the structures of sports doesn't happen. The introduction to sports doesn't happen, and I think that's just a shame. But like you're bringing the top people down instead of trying to push the bottom people up. I love stressing, like our team is as strong as its weakest link. It's our job. That's where I got to take that top guy. And you know what? Hey, this guy's having some struggles. Go help him. Go bring him up. This person now learns how to be a leader. This person gets stronger. And as they get stronger, they gain confidence. And at some point, they're going to be able to now do it with somebody else because they're going to remember, oh, hey, somebody helped me. Now I'm going to go help somebody out. And now we're constantly bringing up, everybody's coming up. The strength is coming up. The confidence is coming up. And that's what we need. We're failing to do that.
Failure in our education system. Like this education starts with kids going to school. They need to be taught like normal things in life about how to be a man, change a tire, do your freaking taxes. People don't show kids how to regular life and important.
I want to wake up. I want to wake up in the morning and identify as a 14-year-old girl now.
Well, you can, Dan. It's okay.
I can put little barrettes in my hair, and then I can participate in girls' sports. I'm a loser as a male in powerlifting, but now as a female, a newly recognized female, Daniela, I rule the world now.
Yeah, number one.
To me, it's like, Jeremy, I don't know if you got this kind of stuff happening in your country, but that's what's happening in the United States.
Yeah, well, once again, Canada, I just find that we're so lacking of sports. I don't think I've personally seen it happen up here in Canada as much, but like you obviously know it's happening. So once again, as Tony said, it's the education system in general.
Yep.
Only because their goals are different. Like they're not really teaching these kids to face adversity. When you're starting to talk about the simple things like a lease, like I didn't know what signing a lease was when I was first trying to open up a facility, and that cost me a lot of money because I took a man at his handshake at one point and thought I had a facility. But
you that's sad that you can't still do that. That was an acceptable contract at one time era, but today's society, you got to have triplicate paperwork, and even then, that you can go to a lawsuit and it's still going to cost you some time, it's going to cost you some money, even though you eventually prevail. But even proper documentation doesn't even protect you.
So a saying that we have here that my kids always talk about is we use the term embrace the suck all the time. And that's just, they got to be faced with adversity. They got to be faced with the struggle. Strength is built that way. Same thing as we were just talking about weightlifting. Where do I build my strength when I'm struggling to get that bench press up? And then the same thing. And, you have how many fights under your belt? There's been times where there's adversity, but you're not just going to give up and quit. You're going to continue to fight. And that's why martial arts is also so great for kids, because that's what they should be learning. And right from the education system, again, they spend 6 hours a day, 5 days a week there. It needs to be taught.
The martial arts world is what I say, it's the last frontier where true character traits are being taught. Everything that you talked about, they're phenomenal character traits. You're teaching people to look, they're not going to be successful at everything they do, so they have to realize that. But then also, you have them line up. They bow into you. They're always like, yes, sensei, yes, sir, no, sir. I mean, but again, these are great character traits that, when you go into, again, I'm looking at American schools, because I don't know what they're like in Canada schools, but in American schools, when kids, if you're not a strong teacher, the kids are going to just run over you, but then corporal punishment is gone out of the school system, been gone for decades, to where now a kid like, you touch me and my parents are going to sue, and stuff like this, and the kids think that they can get away with saying everything. I still remember the days of walking in classrooms where that paddle was proudly on display, and it might even say onto it, Board of Education. And if you got out of line, that teacher brought you right up to in front of the class, would light you up for maybe a couple, 2, 3 swats, kind of embarrass you and stuff like that, to where, did you act up again? No, because there were consequences to your actions.
Yeah, I was just going to say consequences to your actions. That's exactly right.
But when people keep going, so, no, little Billy, don't do that. No, little Julie, don't do that. Sooner or later, just words are what are they going to do for hurting the kids? Take a timeout. Oh, gee, I don't want to work here anyway. So, sure, give me a timeout.
There's somewhat of a disconnect right now, too, I think, with you got a lot of great teachers, but because they have to follow whatever the government or the systems are trying to make them follow, there's sometimes a little bit of handcuffed. And because of that, I don't know if they get necessarily that full bond at all times with the kids, because they're not teaching to the individual either. There's no individuality in schools, where it's just here's what the curriculum is, and here's what the government says you need to do for your standardized testing or whatever. And it's just generic. And kids aren't like that. Like, no kid's the same. They don't learn the same. They're not going to express themselves the same. They don't feel the same. So how can we just teach them so generic and, make them just regurgitate information? They get bored with that too easy.
Yep, I'm just going to reject, because some folks might, as this clip is being aired, I always kind of mention right now that we're here speaking with Jeremy Elliott, and he is the owner of the United Martial Arts, located right there in
Niagara Falls, Canada. Yep.
Niagara Falls, Canada.
Have you and Dan, did you guys ever wrestle each other? Have a match against each other?
No, we've never had a one-on-one singles match. I believe every time we've been on the card together, it's we're always the good guys getting cheered. So until he did that heel turn he's talking about, I don't know if we'll have a match.
Well, I just want to do that because I just think that's a lot of fun.
On you.
Well, obviously, it's a lot of fun being the heel character in the first place. I mean, it's the easiest character. Even if you break character, you start laughing. You can start going into that. I'm not laughing with you, folks. I'm laughing at you. And then you can go into some type of a heel type of thing. But that's kind of the fun part about being a heel. There really is no wrong. Sometimes it's hard as a baby face to stay in character because, that heel keeps pushing it to the limits of, I just want to strike back, but you can't, because again, there's the psychology to bringing a match up. so that you want, the crowd gets behind you, and so you bring them up, you let them down a little bit, you bring them up a little bit further, you bring them down, and then boom, you pop it, and there's just a nice little rhythm to it, but there's a skill set that comes with that as well, and you have to do it all through your actions and your body language and your facial expressions.
Yep, 100%.
So
100%.
you're a baby face, Jeremy?
Yes, Tony. Yeah, I'm a baby face. For most of my career, I definitely have. Maybe when I first started a little bit, I was more of a heel, and even actually at one point was under a little bit of a mask as well. But the last over 10+ years now, baby face. Like I said, I think it goes hand in hand with I've been Jeremy Elliott. Sensei's out there, the kids are cheering. I got the values that I'm trying to teach, so I think it just went hand in hand, which is natural baby face.
Yeah,
You
so
kind of like a gimmick of like, are you like a martial arts teacher, or what do you
Yeah, I'm just me. I wear a gi
the
top,
gi?
and my belt to the ring, MMA shorts, and a rash guard. Most times I've gone, different times. Sometimes I'll wear long spats. Sometimes I'm wearing the kickboxing Muay Thai tights. For this upcoming show at the Meridian Center, I have Valley Tudo. I'm going old school Valley Tudo tights and stuff. So yeah, but
will
it's all
you,
around a martial arts gimmick.
will you be wearing like donning like gloves too, like MMA gloves that are fingerless, so that you can actually grapple, maybe throw like, strikes and things of that nature?
No, being
Okay.
like even on the pro wrestling side and pancrase side, no gloves, strikes, whether they're palm strikes and forearms and chops and all of that, kicks, full kicks. So yeah, I'm just wearing my wrestling boots, my Valley Tudo tights, and away we go. Whether we're striking or grappling, we'll see where it goes.
All right, we've been talking about the martial arts aspect right now, but you've got this big match that's coming up against Suzuki. So, what is the actual date of this match that's coming up?
Yeah, so it's the absolute biggest match of my career. I'm so excited. October 30th. It's a Sunday night, October 30th, St. Catharines, Ontario, and it's at our arena, the Meridian Center. And so we're hoping to pack a couple thousand people into the arena. And this is Minoru Suzuki's first time in Canada. So we're here looking
Really,
at a
first
guy.
time?
He's
Oh,
never been to Canada. So I get to be his opponent. And like I said, when we look up and down, he's the king of Pancrase, one of the founders of Pancrase,
Yeah.
uh, New Japan, All Japan champion, Noah champion. Uh, he trained, in Florida for so many years under so many catch can wrestling legends. And so he's like one of us, where he is such a pro wrestler and an MMA fighter, and it doesn't make any difference. It's all the same to him. And I want to help, show that this is the style of pro wrestling, that it's my vision for what we do as well. And I want to just show that, hey, in Canada, here we are, and we do it the right way as well. This is how we do it.
no, very, very good. Because again, if you, I just know that learning the normal professional style, it's a very light type of a style, but you still see a lot of high spots. You see a lot more clotheslines. You see a lot more European uppercuts, things of that nature, and chops are always big. But I still think that even in a pancreas style match, I still see European uppercuts would be good, because again, it shows a great physicality to it. I still say fans like chops, no matter what, whether you chop at the chest or if you pop that back. I mean, it's just the way that they it stings pretty good, but again, it's pretty easy to sell a chop to the chest or a chop to the back. That's for sure.
Oh, and the back one, if you don't see the back one coming, it sucks.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.